45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS Good Within Good. It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Brand new PGP is out. The show about the show within the show. Find the Permission Granted podcasts wherever it is that you download your podcasts. Just search Permission Granted for its own feed, or if you listen to the DA Show in podcast form, you'll find it on that feed as well. Now, the DA Show podcast has the full 4 hours with limited commercial interruption, or the best of 1+ hour bite-sized version of the DA every single day. So if you search that, just search the DA Show and you'll find the PGP there as well.
Electronically ignorant.
Rob of the 321 tweets, my wife is 44 years old. She still calls her dad daddy. I've never questioned it. If she called him dad, it would be weird. Hashtag, who's your daddy?
Oh, okay.
Mommy?
I guess I'll just speak from a son's standpoint. A son cannot be calling his mom mommy. And a son cannot be calling his dad daddy once he's hit puberty. It just doesn't sound right, everybody. And we all know this. And one thing you cannot do, if you call your dad daddy, Rob of the 321's wife cannot say my daddy. Cannot. The my cannot be in there. No possessive daddy. So Big 12 media days tell us that college football is here. We'll have ACC media days next week. Soon we'll have SEC media days where there's always some type of drama. And college football coaches are making good bank, don't you know? And you know how when name, image, likeness finally came about in the last few weeks, and even before when it was green lighted, and there's been a real thawing nationally of the opinion of whether college athletes should get paid. And I've witnessed this over my years talking sports and taking phone calls and reading emails and reading tweets and hearing the conversation about this. When I began my career 20 years ago, most people, certainly more than 50%, still believed that a college scholarship was enough for the players, that they didn't need to get paid. I would say it was probably 75% scholarship still enough. You got good conditions, you get an education, that's worth $1 million, worth your weight in gold. So we don't need to pay these players. And over the last 10 to 20 years, it is certainly thought. And I would say over the last 5 to 10, it is really flipped. And I would say today, sure, some people believe the value of a scholarship is still all that a player needs or deserves. And I've always said, I will never disagree that there's inherently an incredible value in having a scholarship, because as we all know, the cost of higher education and college these days is so obscene that to have it paid for is an incredible advantage in your life, a head start on most other people, as most college kids are going to inherit tons of debt, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. So there's certainly a value there. But I think most people have thawed on the fact that players deserve more than that because of something like this story. Clemson has made their defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, the highest paid assistant coach in college football. Okay. Now, prior to Brent Venables getting a raise, and pretty continuously at Clemson, they have paid him as the highest or one of the two highest. It's been him and neck with other coaches, whoever gets their renegotiation done. But last year was Steve Sarkisian, who was Bama's offensive coordinator, now Texas's head coach, and Auburn's DC, Kevin Steele. Okay. And so now you have Venables jumping up and grabbing that slot again, highest paid assistant coach. Now, Venables has done an amazing job since he took over about a decade ago at Clemson. Remember that awful Orange Bowl where Clemson's defense got ripped apart. West Virginia put up 70 points against them. And it was like, well, Clemson's got good offensive skill position, players and talent, and they can score, but their defense is a disgrace. And so they'll never win. They'll always Clemsoning that whole bit. Venables takes over and immediately turns it around. And he and Dabo have made an incredible power couple at the top of Clemson, to which they are the standard in college football. So Venables deserves to be the highest paid college assistant in America, and he gets head coaching opportunities, and he has turned them down. But he deserves to be the highest paid assistant coach in America. But I'm going to just have you guess. How much do you think the highest paid assistant coach, so this is a coordinator, highest paid assistant coach makes in college football? 800 grand? Nah, go up. $1 million? Go up. 1.25? Up. 1.5? Up. 1.75? Up. $2 million, DA. An assistant coach making $2 million? Up. 225? Up. Brett Venables just signed for $2.5 million a year for the next 5 years. Now think about that. This is not the head coach of a college football program. You have to pay your head coach like Dabo $8 million a year. That means between two coaches, Dabo and his DC, Brett Venables, Clemson doles out about $10 to $10.5 million a year. An assistant coach makes 2.5. And this is always an arms race where the next assistant that wants a raise is going to use that and get it. And then Brett Venables is going to get a raise to 2.6 or 2.75. But he's guaranteed 2.5 over the next 5 years to run the defense. This is the thing. How can you possibly sit there and tell a college kid, your education is all you deserve, the monetary value of which, let's even say it's $75,000 a year. That is a monetary value of $300,000. Meantime, your defensive coordinator's making $2.5 million. You can't do that with a straight face anymore. And so for the coaches like Dabo who have said, if we ever pay players, I'm going to walk out. Well, he's not, because he hasn't. None of these coaches will, because there's too much money in this. And none of these assistant coaches will, because there's too much money in it as well. You can't make $8 million and your assistant coach make $2.5 million and then stamp your feet and wag your finger that players don't deserve to get more than what they're getting. You can't do it. You can't do it with a straight face. You simply can't do it. You know, if the CBS execs came to me and renegotiated my contract for $10 million, and I was like, yeah, but none of my producers deserve to get a raise here, because the moment that they get a raise, I'm out of here. I can't deal with that. How ridiculous would I sound? How obscene would that be? How absurd and offensive would that take be? Once you start making that cash, you can't keep telling everybody that the people below you don't deserve their raise as well. And players have always been unpaid employees. And so a raise feels weird. Well, what's a raise? Zero to what? But the raise here now is name, image, likeness, and the raise will be other things that players end up getting. And it's just going to have to be that way, because until college football coaches or college basketball coaches start saying no to the raises, they have no ethical platform to stand on. You can't do both. When we come back on the show, Devin Booker has himself a night, but his foul trouble was a storyline, and the Bucks get the win. We'll talk about it coming up next. What a phenomenal game number 4. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's the DA show.
Mornings are hard. Your sports radio show doesn't have to be.
I'm so happy you guys are still alive.
I am excited.
I am so happy. Laugh and learn every morning aboard the mothership.
Ooh. Have a good day. And all my homies gonna ride today. And all these homies look fly today. And all we wanna do is get by today. Hey, we're gonna have a good day.
It's gonna be a good day with DA.
Hey, duh.
I do love the da.
Happy being alive day.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah! Happy Thursday, everybody.
Hey, are you still with me? Okay.
We come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. Whether you want to buy a home or refinance your current home, Rocket can.
Mommy.
It's a no mommy zone. No, I love my mom.
Mommy.
Moms are always welcome. Mothers, welcome.
Mommy.
Mom's welcome. But the mommy is where I got a problem.
Mommy.
Especially the my mommy. Coming up this
I
hour.
want to see my mommy.
Coming up this hour on the show. Stunned to a news coming your way in 20 minutes from now. And in 40 minutes, Dear District Diaries. Now, I have been informed. I've been given the cut list. And whoa. Dear District Diaries took quite the turn last night as our Midwest correspondent, intern Aiden, not only talked to the fans of the Deer District, but also caught up with multiple celebrities that were going in to watch the game. So I'm very excited about this morning's Deer District Diaries and the questions posed. I don't know if you guys have had any heads up on some of the questions posed, but I've got one or two of them that I've heard about. I've just heard of the ether. You want to hear one of them?
Yes, I don't think Pete's heard them. I've listened.
Okay. One of the questions I hear is, what would a Budenholzer flavored potato chip taste like?
Ketchup and pickles.
So stick around. That's coming your way 40 minutes from now. Also, next hour, we've got the Pringles Taste Test Challenge. I've got 3 canisters of disgusting flavored Pringles. I've got rotisserie chicken, spicy chicken sandwich, and pineapple habanero. We will taste test.
How are you?
We will taste test those coming up next hour on the show. I know, Mraz, that your salivary glands start pumping anytime that somebody mentions potato chips, taste testing, food, breakfast early in the morning. Have they started overdrive yet?
Yes, they have. In fact, last night when I sent everybody the topic list, I forgot to originally include it until I went to the cabinet, opened up and saw a can of Pringles at my sister's house and said, that's right. Went back to the email you guys, and then I ended up burying about half a canister of plain Pringles.
Chicken? Have a canister of plain?
I sat there very tired watching the NBA Finals, and I looked down with crumbs all over my chest saying, oh, no.
What have I done?
Exactly.
Last night, game number 4 goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. And what a fourth quarter this was. Back and forth, shots made. Devin Booker's phenomenal. Chris Middleton's phenomenal. Giannis's block, phenomenal. And at the end, Milwaukee gets the victory. There were so many pivotal, momentum-shifting, crazy plays this fourth quarter that first and foremost, let's just give the Bucks credit because they have found a way in all of their series to wrestle back momentum and the series after they fell behind and dug themselves a hole. Remember, they lost the first two games to the Brooklyn Nets in the second round. The opener against the Hawks in the finals of the Eastern Conference. The first two games of this NBA Finals. And in each, they have either come back to win the series or in this case, tied the series 2-2. Now, they fed off the energy of the crowd. And the one thing is that going back to Phoenix, they did not play great basketball in their first two games. Game number one, they were compromised because Giannis was not 100% at that point in time. So it's not quite fair to judge them on game number one. However, in game number two, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton did not deliver what they needed to deliver. Last night, Middleton was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I want to talk more about his story and his trajectory and his career as a second-round draft pick and a G League player and a throw-in in the Brandon Jennings trade to elevate his career and his game to 40-point performer in an NBA Finals game is something special. What a special sports story. But I also think that Devin Booker is a special sports story. And last night, Booker, coming off of that really disappointing game number 3, where he shot 3 of 14, had only 10 points. He sat for the entire fourth quarter. I thought what we saw last night was the true sign that he is a superstar and will be a superstar for a long time, is one of the best young players of the league, ascending to just simply one of the best players in the league. Devin Booker went for 42 points last night, and Devin Booker's floaters and off-balance runners and off-handed shots were all a true sight to behold. And when you look at a performance like that, a performance like Devin Booker put up last night when he was in foul trouble for so much of that fourth quarter, to drop 42 and to do it the way that he did it, nearly single-handedly dragging his team to a third win, which basically would have been game, set, match, was a sight to behold. In a losing effort, he was special. In a losing effort, he was phenomenal. In a losing effort, Devin Booker deserves an absolute ton of credit. This is his first postseason ever. He has more points than any other player in his first playoff go-round. 542 points scored in this postseason. Now, that sixth would have been foul, should have been a foul. He just grabs the offensive player and basically wrestles him down. The Bucks end up getting the bucket anyway, but Devin Booker should have fouled out, should not have been in that game late. And had Devin Booker had a late shot to tie it or win it, it would have been wrong. It would have been absolutely wrong for him to be in that game. Book was too careless with foul calls, with foul pickups, with the way that he played defense early in that game to put himself in that really bad hole with the fifth foul to where Monty Williams had to sit him. But I think it was basically a derivative of playing really aggressive, trying to come back off of a disappointing game number 3 and knowing that he's the man, he's the guy. And we're watching the growth of Chris Paul happen in real time because, Devin Booker happen in real time because of the Chris Paul now fade. The last 2 games after Chris Paul played 41 minutes in game number 2 and was phenomenal in the first 2 games, he has faded. And Paul has not been very good in these last 2 games. And again, last night, Chris Paul was ineffective. And when Paul was ineffective, clearly Devin Booker realized it's my torch. It's my baton. I'm taking it. I now control our team. It's my moment. He senses that. He knows his team needs it. And Paul has taught the ways of the Jedi to Devin Booker, and now Booker's taking it over, understanding that Paul is limited. Maybe he's running out of gas. Maybe he's injured. Maybe the Bucks defensively have figured out how to attack him. But whatever the case is, how great Paul was in the first 2 games is nowhere near what he was in the last 2 games. And even despite that, Devin Booker nearly pushed his team to a victory. He's an incredible player, an absolutely incredible player. And you just wish that nobody had to lose a game like that. The Suns end up taking the L, and now it's 2-2 going back to Phoenix, and the Milwaukee Bucks did everything they needed to do. Held serve at home, which is why when everybody freaks out over the Bucks losing the first 2 games, you have to get a split. You have to win one on the road. How can you play like that? Yada, yada, yada. The old adage still applies. A series doesn't begin until a road team wins, until a team wins a road game. Nothing has been decided until that. And so now it's just every team has won their home games. And now we go to the best of 3 at the end. And we might not have a road team win. We might have the Suns win 5, Bucks 6, and then the Suns again in 7. But this is the series that we all wanted. This is the series that I had predicted. I thought that all these predictions of Suns in 4, Suns in 5 was so disrespectful. And I keep talking about this through the postseason, is that I just think the Bucks have been so unbelievably disrespected throughout this entire run. And it has happened because people feel burned by the last 2 years. If you were high on the Bucks 2 years ago and they were the number 1 seed and they flamed out up 2-0 in that series against the Raptors, if you were high on the Bucks last year saying, well, this is the Bucks season, they got over the scars of last year, they lost in that series up 2-0, they're going to do it this year, and then they flame out again in the playoffs, then you come into this year and you don't want to believe in them, and you want to pick them apart, and you want to find their flaws because you want to say they're not good enough. I had a vested interest in them winning, and they're not good enough. They let me down. And so then it was Giannis is too soft. Giannis can't do it in the playoffs. They got lucky against the Nets. They needed everything to go their way against Brooklyn. They let the Hawks win game number 1. They don't have the right intensity. Chris Middleton's not good enough as a 2. Drew Holiday's overpaid as a 3. Budenholzer is overthinking things. They barely got by, and Trae Young was injured. Then they lose the first 2 games in Phoenix. And every step along the way, it's, yeah, see? Yeah, the Bucks aren't good enough. Yeah, the Bucks aren't good enough. Giannis isn't good enough. Budenholzer's not good enough. Chris Middleton's not good enough. Drew Holiday's not good enough. It keeps happening. And here they are, 2-2 in the NBA Finals, having clawed back from down 0-2. Like, when do they finally get people to say, yeah, you know what? I copped to that. I was wrong. When do you finally hear that? When do we finally hear people say, I was wrong? Now, the Bucks could still lose the next 2 games. They might not win this NBA championship, but losing in 6 in the NBA Finals is not anything to be ashamed of. The 1993 Phoenix Suns have nothing to be ashamed of. Losing in 6 to the Bulls. Nothing. If the Bucks do the same thing this year, there'd be nothing to be ashamed of. And yet everybody couldn't wait to bury the Bucks and Giannis and Budenholzer, Middleton, and Holiday. And they just keep coming back. Now, look, did Kyrie's injury help them? Of course it did. You can't deny that. But you also don't say, well, we're going to wave the white flag. We're going to give up because Kyrie's out. You know what? They're better at full strength, so we shouldn't even play. You still got to play. The Nets still have to play. And as great as Kevin Durant was in those games, the Bucks had to answer it. And they did. And so I just think if you're a Bucks fan and you have heard this time and time again nationally, it does not happen locally, but nationally it happens all the time. They're not good enough. They're too soft. They're chokers. They're regular season paper tigers, paper champions. Happens all the time. Happens. Oh, that's all we ever said about the Bucs this year from a national standpoint. And here you are, 2-2 in the finals, ready to go back to Phoenix. And you've got the momentum. You got to feel great. You got to feel absolutely great. But Booker was wonderful last night. Wonderful. And Chris Middleton was sensational. And I love the development of these guys on this stage because the finals creates legends, and we're seeing it happen in front of us. When we come back on the show, a little stun to a news. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's gonna be a good day with DA.
And you don't, you know that song?
The DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Saturday on CBS, a huge day and night of sports begins on the court at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for the second weekend of Big Three basketball. That's followed by 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, final round golf action, LPGA Dow Great Lakes Invitational. Then at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, it's Superstar Saturday night and the Battle of the Elliots in Nashville as reigning NASCAR champion Chase Elliott enters the field to duel with his dad, Bill, at the season finale of the Camping World SRX Series. That's all Saturday, only on here. Now you want ingenuity. The Wizard of WatchDA.com has dealt with a myriad of issues this week. Apparently, over the weekend, there was an enormous power surge to our system, busting open the equipment we use to get the simulcast going. Luckily, the radio equipment was okay. The simulcast equipment is basically smoking like a car on the side of the highway. So here is Kaplan on Monday pouring cold water on it, taping it up with duct tape, trying to buy knockoff cables on Canal Street, just trying to get this thing up and running. He's got the bunny ears up, trying to figure out how the heck to get this thing going again. And he's getting no help. Because as you might imagine, we're still in the transition of getting everybody back in the studios, back in the building. And so right now we're back in the building, but we don't have the full staff of engineers, the full staff of other administrative people around here. So it's been a week-long slog. And I'm telling you, there was one point during Wednesday's show where Cap is actually hanging from the 11th story window outside with a cable and an antenna, trying just to get the signal so that WatchDA.com can come in. He's actually out on scaffolding, hanging out there with a kite, trying to make sure that we've got the power coming through. Now, we know you guys want it. We know that you guys need it. We know that you guys are dying for it, okay? And so what Cap has done is he's found the ultimate workaround. If you go to WatchDA.com, we're posting the day's show right after we're off the air. So you can't watch it live, but you can watch the show now, archived as soon as we're off the air. However, Cap is now doing the ultimate brilliant wizardry. And this is why he's the Messiah-like figure. He's running it on our YouTube page live. So you can watch the show live on YouTube at the CBS Sports Radio channel.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing better than Cap these days. There was one point in time this week where Cap just said, forget it. I can do this from my house because you jamokes can't figure it out. And that's where he is. He's got his whole bunker at his home, big buttons, oversized mallets, a Wizards hat, not a Washington Wizards hat, a Wizard hat. And he's now got this thing running live on YouTube. So if you usually watch the show and you want to watch the show, go to our YouTube page at CBS Sports Radio on YouTube and watch it there. Mraz just dealt with a level of this he never thought he'd have to. There is a stationary camera here left for us by the technical department. They were supposed to set it up yesterday. They leave it here and say it's cordless. You don't need a power strip. There's no plug needed. Just place this on the desk and you can use this. And Cap is trying to run this remotely from his home office. Whereas you come in, you're like, yeah, no, it definitely has a power cord missing.
Right. If there's anything I actually do know, it's TVs and electronics because of my laziness and what needs power cords.
And you're like, yeah, no, this definitely needs a power cord. So for some reason, our technical department didn't think it needed to be piped, and you knew it had to be piped.
Yeah, I don't remember ever anything needing an Ethernet cord to turn on the power for anything. That's usually just to connect to internet.
There's no on or off button. There's definitely one of those little prong things to where you would plug in a power cord, and they're like, no, it's cordless. No, it definitely isn't. So you had to go to a different floor, ghost town on that floor, right? There's nobody on that floor administratively.
Administratively, no. There's a couple music stations of people walking around. Yes. People have never seen me before, and if they have, it's been a good 2 years.
And so you got to go up there and you've got to rummage through basically an old equipment closet.
Yes, it's a closet that now has become an office, and it would be like walking into a house that was just trashed. That's basically what I felt like I was doing.
So you had to find the power cord for this camera in this equipment closet, and it just so happened, thankfully, it was lying on the floor.
Yes, and I had to make sure I eyeballed the proper prong to size ratio. The whole thing is a nightmare, DA. But as we proved with the Bob's Bar Show, we're proving here, there are a lot of people's jobs are becoming obsolete because we're figuring out how to run things.
That's right. Yes, we are absorbing all the engineering jobs for our show. We're basically,
this is facts.
We are doing it ourselves. So you brought down the power cord. It definitely needed that because as soon as you plugged it in, suddenly the lights went on. But unfortunately, still not working.
No, I am in talks with the wizard, and he's waving his wand, and I am due to look at a different port behind it following this segment.
But we do have another camera that's working right now. So that's how we're on YouTube at the moment. There's a different camera working. That would be a secondary camera. But that's the type of challenges we're going through. So just so you know, we're busting our ass around here, trying to make sure it gets done. We're not ignoring it. Every minute of every day, we're trying to solve it. We're not getting a lot of help, but it's to be expected. I mean, we're part of the frontiersmen. This is manifest destiny. We were just told, go search out new lands, young ones, young Americans. And we got in our little cattle cars and we went across country, and now we're searching for our plot of land, the Oregon Trail. Our oxen are dying, but we are forging ahead, and we're doing it ourselves without any established government or structure or infrastructure around us.
How is it that we come back to studio and we seemingly have more problems getting the show off than when we did at home? That's what I don't understand. You think these kinks could have been worked out before they had us arrive back?
And there definitely was this type of corporate, just get them back. Just get them back in the studio. We can't see them. We can't trust them. We can't control them. Get them back in the studio. That DA show needs to be back in the studio because we can't trust them on their own accord, even though for a year and a half, we did pretty good. And I think the whole bit was they got us back to the studio before anything was really done. It was like, They re-signed the quarterback and brought back the offensive line before they hired the coach. We didn't even know if it was the right offensive scheme. Like, did we fit the scheme? Who knows?
It's like showing up to a family member's house for a holiday and you realize they're just coming out of the shower with a towel on their head. And you're like, wait a minute, there's no chips out yet. What happened? I thought you said to come over at 2:00.
That's the perfect comp. It's right. Yep. You show up. Aunt Joanne is coming out of the shower. You're like, what? You said 2.
Oh,
AB standing by. Headline this morning. Bogues, good morning.
Good morning. And I so want to be sarcastic and pompous that I'm sitting at home and all of my things are working. But I know if I make any of those jokes, the fire will start within the next 90 seconds. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
That hole in your ceiling will open up and suddenly a beam will come down right on top of your computer.
So I still think LeBron's block on Andre Iguodala was better, but it's certainly up for debate after Giannis did this in Game 4 with the Suns last night.
Booker driving, lob to Ayton, knocked away by the Bucks. Giannis did it.
Ted Davis, Bucks Radio. The call didn't do the play justice with Giannis turning away from Devin Booker's lob, going down the lane, meeting DeAndre Ayton way above the rim and cleanly blocking away the tying dunk with 1:15 left. Mike Budenholzer definitely impressed.
Giannis just made a spectacular block, a spectacular play, his ability to cover ground and get to that point, get to the top. That's an NBA Finals special moment right there. And we're going to need more of them.
Chris Paul's fifth turnover soon followed. Chris Middleton scored again, and the Bucks stole Game 4, 109-103 to level the finals at 2. Phoenix led by 9 early in the fourth, got 42 points from Devin Booker, but could not overcome 17 turnovers. That block from Giannis and Middleton's 14 fourth quarter points. He had 40 total to keep the home team perfect in this series. So back to Phoenix they go, now 2-2, Game 5 on Saturday night. Team WNBA beat the U.S. Olympic team at the WNBA All-Star Game 93-85 in Vegas last night. Arike Agumbawale, here we go again, Pete, led the non-Olympians with 26 points to earn MVP honors. Richard Sherman has his first court hearing this afternoon for yesterday's arrest for burglary, domestic violence. Sherman also facing malicious mischief and suspicion of resisting arrest. He was allegedly drunk and emotional as he tried to get into his in-laws' house in Redmond, Washington. His wife was there, maybe his kids. No one, thankfully, injured inside the house. Sherman, though, did suffer a lower leg issue because of a police dog aiding.
So the reason that it was domestic violence, just as a clarification, was that it was an incident at the home of a relative. Nobody was injured. He didn't threaten to injure anybody as well, I don't think. But nobody was injured. But it's officially classified as domestic violence because he was trying to break into a relative's home. The whole thing is very, it's scary. And the 911 call is really scary because his wife is calling and saying, you know, my husband is out of control. He's drunk. He's had suicidal thoughts. You know, he's trying to leave, get here. But he's trying to break into a relative's home while drunk and apparently talking about suicide.
And how awful was the 911 operator, who I'm sure deals with a lot of crap and bad phone calls all day long, but that person could not have been less helpful and less sympathetic to the situation that through that entire call.
It's chilling. It's chilling to hear that 911 call and to hear the 911 operator basically lecture Richard Sherman's wife and demean her. And I thought Richard Sherman's wife, it took a lot of self-control in that moment to not snap back and yell at the operator, and she did not. I thought Richard Sherman's wife handled herself about as well as anybody could possibly handle themselves when that situation's happening. I would imagine that 911 operator gets a scolding, gets a reprimand, gets something, because it was completely unprofessional how she is spoken to.
We also have the wife of Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins facing a domestic violence charge for allegedly punching Haskins in the mouth during a dispute in a Vegas hotel room earlier this month. Haskins suffered a cut lip and a lost tooth in the encounter. And 4 Eastern, as for football, is the deadline for franchise tag players to sign long-term deals. None of the 7 players in question expected to get one of those, including receivers Chris Godwin and Allen Robinson. Now we get to round 1 of the Open Championship at Royal St. George's. Brian Harmon and Mackenzie Hughes share the lead right now. They are both 4 under through 11 holes. Jordan Spieth is 3 under through 12.
Spieth.
Brooks Koepka is -2 through 17. Dustin Johnson 1 under through 8, and Bryson DeChambeau
The scientist.
is 1 over through 12. Dodgers righty Trevor Bauer now expected to remain on administrative leave through the 27th. MLB and police still conducting separate investigations of sexual assault allegations against Bauer. On the field, the Angels have signed veteran outfielder Adam Eaton, whom the White Sox released on Monday, and MLS and the Canadian government letting Toronto FC and CF Montreal host a total of 3 upcoming games in their home stadiums. Okay. Conversations continue about the rest of the season. Vancouver, though, still playing out of Utah for the time being. And now, boys, we're stunned.
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
Once again, it apparently makes really good financial sense to buy a bunch of things right now.
That's right.
Never open them and hope they get super popular so that one day, decades later, they're worth a ton of money. Heritage Auctions in Dallas has been auctioning off unopened video games. Friday, an unopened Legend of Zelda went for $870,000. The auction house couldn't believe it got that much. Then an unopened Super Mario 64 went for $1.65 million on Sunday. Those both follow an unopened Super Mario Brothers from 1986, fetching $660K back in April. So that's $3 million for 3 unopened video games. Now, Super Mario 64 came out in 96. It was the best-selling game on the Nintendo 64 and the first game ever to have a 3D Mario. Somehow that makes it worth $1.6556 million. And again, I ask, what do you do with your unopened Super Mario 64 after you paid $1.5 million for it?
I'm not usually one to tell people how to spend their money, and I get the collector's thing as well, but this whole unopened video game thing feels so stupid to me, because if you wanted to say, well, the box is really cool, it's like looking at a baseball card or looking at an old comic or something like that. Okay, the nostalgia that comes back, I could understand that. Of course, nostalgia is in everything, especially this generation of people that grew up in the 90s or the 80s and they're looking back on their childhood. Okay, that's part of this whole thing. But then just buy the box. Just buy the box without the game in it. The whole point of a video game is to open the video game and play the video game, not to keep the video game in the box and stare at the box. Just have the box then. Like a baseball card you own, and okay, you can put it behind glass. You can put it in that hard plastic, whatever, and you look at it and you hold it and you flip it around and you look at it, and you put it on a shelf and you look at it. It is meant to be looked at. A comic book is meant to be looked at. Now, maybe don't take it out of that plastic to actually thumb through it if you have like the Superman #1 or something like this, but it is meant to be looked at. A video game is not meant to be looked at. It is meant to be played. The box can be looked at. So this is just about collectors going crazy in this point in time for stupid things, overpaying. And it just proved that rich people have too much money. Rich people have too much damn money. If you have $1.5 million to spend on a video game you'll never open, get lost. Frankly, get lost.
You are so accurate, DA, with this. But the problem is this story is nothing new to us for people having too much money and collecting garbage. What's frustrating about this is every single one of us could have done this. Not every single one of us runs into the perfect rookie card in a pack of cards we open up. I owned this game. All it took was mommy flushing down 40 or 45 bucks to buy a second copy so I could play and leave one unopened. And now we're sitting on a throne of millions right now, or $1 million right now. And that's what ticks me off more of this story. People spending money on nonsense has been going on forever. Not foreseeing the nonsense and being able to get your hands on something any one of us could have had in our possession is what really ticks me off.
So does this just mean that we're going to enter this kind of sphere of culture where everybody just buys everything and stores it away unopened for 20 years, hoping that this happens? Because that's kind of what happened to Beanie Babies. And some of them were now expensive and most of them are just garbage. Most of them are $20. So is everyone going to go out and try to buy? I mean, I don't know what you would buy that's video game wise, physical package now, like a controller.
I tell you, I think a good example would have been if you 10 years ago had the first iPod mini and you bought two and left one completely unopened.
Absolutely. That's
like
very
that's
expensive now.
Yes, that's you have to foreshadow the right thing. Beanie Babies were the wrong thing. You should have sold while they were up early. Video games, I guess I can't see a PlayStation 5 game or something. Now they're all becoming digitalized anyway.
Right.
So you need the hard copy. You just got to pick the right thing. Maybe it's a spicy chicken Wendy's Pringles can because it goes unopened if you don't open it, and then you leave that in storage for 15 years and see what happens. Who knows? It's all about foreshadowing.
The baseball card thing is offensive to me because, collecting back in the 80s, your pack of cards is 50 cents. If you go big, upper deck's $1.25. You try to collect the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, or maybe there's an old Johnny Bench you might get. I found once upon a time like a 62 mantle with like both corners ripped off and bent. And I'm like, I got to have this. This is the best thing ever. And now I own a mantle. And today, it's like the cards have gone up so much and parents are elbowing kids out of the way at Target. And like everything is being fought over for this reason. That it's obnoxious. It's just the whole thing became so obnoxious. The collecting things became obnoxious. The unopened video game thing, Darren Ravel tweets about this a lot, is so obnoxious. The whole thing is just annoying and aggressive and stupid. And now an unopened Mario Kart, or Mario 64 is worth $1.5 million.
We all got it. They were all sitting on the Toys R Us shelves. They were sitting there. We could have had one and put it in our pocket and had $1 million now. I'd have a car by now.
Action figures could be another avenue too.
Action figures, yeah.
Pete is just hoping his British Bulldog wrestling figure from 1998 is gonna get him out of poverty.
Well, I had a ton of wrestling figures from when I was a kid, like out of the box. But like if I knew then,
right,
we would get extras.
Yeah, right. Either you would have bought them and kept them in the box so that Andre the Giant in the box or Undertaker in the box is worth like $70,000 right now,
right,
or you buy one to play with and keep one in the box and put it in the attic for 20 years.
But isn't this on parents? You can't expect Pete at 10 years old
No.
at KB Toys to say, Mom, buy the other Shawn Michaels figure here.
No, you can't. No, you can't. When we come back on the show, Dear District Diaries. What flavor potato chip would be Budenholzer? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is CBS. It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Each and every morning, you can catch us across the CBS Sports Radio Network, hundreds of affiliates nationwide and north of the border, also on Sirius XM, channel 206. And you can also listen to us on your phone. You can stream us for free using the CBS Sports app or the Odyssey app. Coming up next hour on the show, the Pringles taste test. In my possession, I hold rotisserie chicken flavored Pringles, Wendy's spicy chicken flavor potato chips Pringles, and pineapple habanero. We are also talking about Game 4 of the NBA Finals, an inspired, momentous victory by the Bucks to make it 2-2, going back to Phoenix for game number 5. Chris Middleton with a phenomenal game and a tremendous late game effort to knock down some big shots. And coming up at the top of the hour, we'll talk about what an amazing journey he has had through his life in basketball. But one of our running bits here on the DA show during the course of the postseason has been our Midwest correspondent, the Marquette Marvel intern Aiden, has been going down to the watch party outside of the arena at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee and doing Dear District Diaries. Cue it up.
All right, this will be used for the radio. What would a Budenholzer flavored potato chip taste like?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I was gonna say it tastes like German, maybe like schnitzel flavored, something like that, like Jaeger.
I feel like something with barbecue. Budenholzer just sounds German. It would be, I don't know, barbecue-y.
I feel like it's gonna have some slight barbecue, maybe a pinch of lime.
A Blues and Holder potato chip. cold potato.
Of all the banana boat guys, so LeBron, Wade, Chris Paul, and Carmelo Anthony, who is the most annoying on vacation?
Probably LeBron. He probably talks on the bus all the time, all the way for 6 hours straight.
LeBron James all day. LeBron James.
It's definitely LeBron.
Carmelo Anthony, 100%.
Why?
Why? I feel like he's just always trying to do too much. He'd be like the clown of the group that people get annoyed of quickly.
Who was president the last time the Bucks won the NBA championship?
Nixon. No. Was it? 71 or 76?
Nixon.
Who was president in 1971 when the Bucks last won the NBA title?
Not Theodore Roosevelt. I don't know. It's like,
That was Theodore Roosevelt.
it was during like
It was not John F. Kennedy. No, definitely wasn't him. That's too late.
Who was president the last time the Bucks won the NBA title? 1971.
Reagan. I can tell you who's president right now.
I just said Obama. Well, Dear District Diaries has been such a hit that the celebs had to get in on the DA show fodder. Well, Oscar Robertson's technically a recurring guest now. Thanks for coming on the DA show, Oscar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With the stars in the stands, getting cheesy was easy. Shams Charania, take it away. Can I get your favorite type of cheese?
Just American.
American? Do you know it's not actually cheese? It's a cheese product?
No clue.
How about John Calipari? Coach, what's your favorite type of cheese?
Ricotta.
Okay. Who was president in 1974, last time the Bucks won?
74 would have been Nixon. No?
A couple of real cheeseheads, the Green Bay Packers, were in on the action too. Zadarius Smith pregame. What's your favorite type of cheese, Zadarius?
Type of cheese? American cheese.
Wide receiving great Donald Driver had a different idea for his meal. What are you having to eat tonight, Donald? What are you having to eat tonight?
Oh, steak.
Steak. I caught up with number 80 after the game to get the recap. So how was that steak?
I don't know. I ain't finished it.
Chance the Rapper had a chance to wrap up the night as the Chicago native but Milwaukee frequent stepped up. So you a Bucks fan now?
Milwaukee, we love you. I live really close.
Finally, Smith also returned post-game to put a bow on the whole night from the Deer District. How's Milwaukee feeling?
Man, great right now, man. We just turned up. We have a whole lot of energy. It's a whole lot of energy, man. It's 2-2, man. But I feel like we're going to take this thing over, man.
How about a Deer District Celebrity Edition? Oscar Robertson, Donald Driver, Zadarius Smith, Coach Calipari, Chance the Rapper. Aiden and Connor are taking over this show. Within 3 years, it's going to be the Connor and Aiden show, and we are toast, Perez.
Good. Let them find the alternate side parking I've had to deal with for 2 days.
Okay, so let's break this down. Coach Cal, his favorite cheese is ricotta cheese? That's not a bad choice.
Here's the problem. His last name's Calipari, and he's calling it ricotta, not rigot.
Well, maybe
that's the issue.
Maybe because he's in Milwaukee. He's trying to play to a Midwestern crowd.
Oh, he's not thinking of that. He's a fake Italian.
Oh, God. And what, you're a real one?
I don't call it rigot like that all the time, but if your last name's Calipari, you cannot call it ricotta. You cannot, under any circumstance, call it ricotta.
It's got to be regatta or rigot.
Okay. Well, I'd like you guys to sit down with Coach Cal and teach him that and tell him he's not a real Italian.
I'm right on top of that.
Okay. It's still a good choice, though.
It is, because it's different. Yes.
It's different. It's fluffy. It's lighter. It's in a lot of good foods like lasagna and
lasagna?
No,
dips.
No. It's in
dips. Stuffed shells, manigot.
It's in manicotti. That's right. It's also in
now
ravioli.
Now you're calling it manicotti. You're
because, guys, I'm sorry. We're talking to 50 states. You think Dixieland Dan calls it ragut and manigot?
No, but I think...
you think so? Who do you think you're talking to?
I think anybody who has Italian heritage, that's just not a Northeast thing.
And what percentage of America that we're talking to do you think has that?
Oh, I'm sure it's small, but Calipari has that. He's not saying that because of that. It's because it's passed on to him.
Okay. Number 2. How about a schnitzel flavored potato chip?
Best answer of the whole thing.
How about schnitzel flavored with lime in the middle of it?
I love it.
That sounds pretty good.
It does. It sounds like something that should be come up with.
Teddy Roosevelt, one guy guessed, as the president the last time the Bucks won the NBA champ. Teddy Roosevelt? Even if you said FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, that's a crazy answer. Teddy Roosevelt? 100 years ago? 120 years ago? And my biggest concern is Donald Driver didn't eat the steak? What? What do you mean? I didn't finish it? Well, how did it taste?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Worcestershire sauce.
CBS Sports Radio. Live from CBS Radio Studios in New York City, it's the DA Show with your host, Damon Amendolara, featuring producer Mraz and the musical sounds of the Zap Zap Orchestra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's DA.
And happy Thursday morning to you, everybody. We come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. Need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family? Well, Rocket can. Oh, boy. What an hour of power here on the DA Show. Coming your way in 20 minutes. We are eating the weirdest Pringles chip flavors we can find. They stand in front of me as we speak. I'll unveil the details coming up here shortly. We'll do that in 20 minutes. Then in 40 minutes, would you spend $92 to watch sports at Scottie Pippen's house? And Scotty's there with you. Next hour on the show, we'll talk to Pat Garrity, NBA front office member, formerly the assistant GM of the Detroit Pistons, and Wayne Embry, the general manager that delivered the Milwaukee Bucks' first and only championship back in 1971 when Teddy Roosevelt was president, according to one of our guests as part of the Dear District Diaries last night. But first, last night's game number 4, Chris Middleton was phenomenal, especially in the clutch. Every time that the Suns had a big bucket, every time Devin Booker had a big bucket, it was Chris Middleton who wanted the shot, who took the shot, and who made the shot. Chris Middleton's game is not smooth. It's not fluid. It's not necessarily aesthetically pleasing. And it's not always consistent. But there is a reason the Milwaukee Bucks gave him the big contract. It's a reason they felt like he was good enough to build around with Giannis as a number 2. And there's a reason that he has made 2 NBA All-Star teams. Last night we saw it. It's funny because Chris Middleton's really crafty offensively. He's got little moves. He's got little steps. He can bend and contort and get the shot off. But he does not look fluid. It is not a beautiful outside shot like Steph Curry. It is not an aesthetically pleasing drive to the basket. It is not a guy that even looks like an incredibly gifted athlete. He's got those boxy shoulders, and he's kind of built like a bread truck a little bit. And yet here he is last night dropping 40 in this game. And nearly in the fourth quarter, single-handedly dragging the Bucks with those buckets to the win. Now, Giannis's block was splendid, and they needed all of it from everybody. But truly, Chris Middleton had his signature game. And I just love Chris Middleton's story. Chris Middleton ends up going to Texas A&M and playing there for a couple of years. And his highest honor at A&M was second team All Big 12. Chris Middleton wasn't even first team All Big 12, second team. So he enters the NBA draft and is selected in the second round, 39th overall by the Pistons. So he's a 3-star recruit coming out of Charleston, South Carolina. 3 stars. Goes to A&M, makes one all Big 12 team, gets drafted in the second round, 39th overall, and we all know what happens in the second round. Non-guaranteed contracts. You got to try to make the team every day that you're there. No big money. He gets sent down to the Fort Wayne Mad Ants of the then D League, now the G League, and bounces between the G League and the Pistons. He has 27 games played his rookie season for the Pistons and averages 6 points. Gets 17 minutes a game. Does not feel like a guy that you would build around. Then that summer, after his rookie season in Detroit, the Bucks trade Brandon Jennings. They trade Jennings to the Pistons, and in return, they get Brandon Knight and Chris Middleton. Middleton immediately with the Bucks, they find something that they like in Middleton that the Pistons didn't. He plays all 82 games that next season and gets to 12 points per game. He becomes a starter in 64 games that year. From there on, he's basically an everyday starter and builds year by year by year into an all-star the last 2 seasons. And I don't think anybody would look at Chris Middleton when he was coming out of school, when he was drafted in the second round, when he was playing for the Mad Ants, and say, yeah, you know, that guy's raw, but he's got all-star potential. I don't think anybody would say that. That is a self-made guy. That is a guy that has kind of defied all odds. He doesn't look the part. He doesn't necessarily play the part. He's not a guy that beats his chest. He wasn't an AAU star. He wasn't a guy with a lot of accolades coming out of high school, a McDonald's or Parade All-American. He's not a guy drafted high that was in a bad situation. He is just a work your ass off to be successful type of player. He's crafty. He's unique. And if only Middleton was more consistent, then I think he would get more love. That we have seen him have some really bad days in the postseason and some really quiet nights in these playoffs. But then the nights that he comes out to play, you can see how devastating he can be, and you see how dangerous the Bucks can be. I think if you are a Bucks fan, if you were Budenholzer, a Bucks front office, anybody within that franchise, you have to hope that Game 4 opened up his eyes. Chris, when you play like that, we're a totally different team. Because then last night, Giannis can be really good defensively. He could have that block away on the lob pass to DeAndre Ayton. He could rebound 14 boards, but not have to put up 42. Not have to be the centerpiece of every offensive possession. Because we do know that when Giannis is great, Giannis is kind of careening towards the basket. And because of his length and his size and his power, you don't know how to defend it. But if it's clogged up down low, or if you've got him on the perimeter, he doesn't want to have to shoot a 3. You want him to take a 3. He doesn't have a mid-range jumper game. That, you know, Giannis's destruction comes when he can use his power to just grind his way to the basket and overwhelm you. And when he's got a head of steam, forget it. When he's dribbling down the floor and is coming towards you, how do you stop that? But if you have a guy that can knock down threes, got a mid-range game, and can pick up those other buckets to the tune of 40 some odd points like last night, the Bucks could become a totally different offense to try to defend. Now, I'm not saying that Middleton never does that, because clearly you build yourself into a 2-time All-Star. You do it enough to be an All-Star. But let's face it, Middleton is one of the least respected second bananas in the game, even though the Bucks have been a number 1 seed 2 years, and then this year, 2 wins away from an NBA championship. Last night, if that unlocked, uncorked, or unpiped Chris Middleton to realize his fullest potential, then the Bucks are seriously dangerous. Because, you know, Giannis is going to be Giannis. But if Chris Middleton's a guy that can give you 30 to 40 points, think about how amazing that 1-2 punch is for the Bucks. Game 5 coming up this weekend from Phoenix. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing the early goings of the Bucks in the Atlanta series. And because the Bucks had just defeated the Nets, Mraz was still salty. And I was angry because I felt Mraz was not giving the Bucks enough respect. And this was early in the Hawks series. And now here we are 2 weeks later. And again, the Bucks have proven themselves to be resilient, have a big heart, etc. Let's play this clip from a couple of weeks ago.
Fact that they needed everything in the tank in a game 7 without the 2 net stars, and for being 2-2 in this series versus Atlanta with Trae Young missing a game and a half.
Sure, but I'm not going to criticize the Bucks for winning a game 7. Like, that's again where we just, as a sports society, we suck so bad. Like, there's you and then half of our listeners that want to criticize the winner. The winner! Like, that's, they're everybody is an NBA player. They're paid professionals. They're all really good. Kevin Durant's an all-time player playing at the all-time peak, and they found a way to beat him, and we want to criticize that? Like, that sucks. Your take on that sucks, and our listeners that agree with you suck, because that's not where you criticize them. If your team did it, it'd be, oh my God, what a great win that was. Can you believe the Yankees overcame that all of those things that happened to them? Oh my God. Can you believe the Giants found it deep within their soul to go 6-10? I mean, they had no Saquon Barkley. I mean, can you believe what they got out of him? But then the moment your team is the victim, it's, oh, they can't get any credit for that.
They blew a 19-point lead in game 5 of Brooklyn, and that's why they were in a game 7. That deserves more heat than winning game 7. Let Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks be the Buffalo Bills that were in and win that 4th time, and then we will give them credit. Until they do that, they're going to get knocked for performances like last night, game 1, game 5 versus Brooklyn, and all that in between.
Are you ready to apologize yet to the Milwaukee Bucks?
Well, what you just played at the end again shows them completely right. Until they do that, let's see them finish this
So
series.
you can't give them credit yet?
No, I could give them credit for the last 2. I will say this absolute fact. What the Milwaukee Bucks have done in this series, and I'll even give what Giannis did in game 2, although the Suns just completely outshot them. This is their absolute best unexcused effort that you have to give them credit for since round 1 versus Miami. There's no injury excuse to be had by the Phoenix. This has absolutely been an incredible job, especially down 2-0. To come back yesterday, and Chris Middleton had a Chris Middleton game. The Bucks deserve credit for being a 2-2 with the Suns, a team I thought was vastly superior to them entering the finals.
Okay, so do you feel a little bad about crushing them 2 weeks ago? Because, how could they
changed.
Oh, so now
they deserved 2 weeks ago to be crushed. They don't deserve today to be crushed. And I said, let them be the Buffalo Bills until they prove otherwise. They might be proving otherwise right now.
Well, how about 2 weeks ago saying, you know what? The Bucks won a game 7 on the road. You know what? The Bucks could still win an NBA championship. The Bucks are still playing. They're winners to this point. You know what? I'm not ready to crush them yet because they could win an NBA championship. Don't you feel silly crushing a team in the middle of a potential championship run?
No, because my crushing wasn't just about this year. It's about what we've seen with the Bucks coming up short and then continuing to not be able to put their foot on the neck of an opponent throughout this entire postseason.
Winning, but they were still winning.
Yes, winning, but still blowing games.
But it has to be winning by your account. Like
it wasn't just my account. This wasn't a me thing. This was the narrative around the Bucks. This wasn't a hot take from me.
Well,
I was speaking to the Buck narrative.
Well, you were saying that because it took them too long to beat the Nets and because it took them too long to beat the Hawks, that it wasn't up to your grade.
Yes. If Trae Young gets hurt, you shouldn't have to have that much of a problem with the.
Well, he wasn't hurt early when they lost those 2 games.
But they lost the game without Trae Young.
Yeah.
And basically they had to hang on for dear life the game he got hurt, correct? I think I forget the circumstances. And again, in the Nets series, they were uncompetitive essentially until Kyrie got hurt.
So now you're going to say that the Bucks don't deserve to be here because Kyrie got hurt?
The Bucks don't deserve to be here, but they shouldn't apologize for being here, and they will never have an asterisk.
They don't deserve to be here.
They were not the best team in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They got here via injury. For that, there is no argument and no doubt. There's no arguing that. They are here.
They don't deserve to be here. They didn't win the games. They're not actually playing in the NBA Finals.
They had to win the games.
So
yes,
they wouldn't deserve to win the NBA championship then.
they would deserve to win the NBA championship by beating the Suns. Were they the team most deserving to be here if everybody was healthy? No, they would not have been.
So they don't deserve to be playing in the NBA Finals, but they would deserve to win the NBA Finals.
By beating Phoenix, every card on the table, absolutely. That's why there wouldn't be an asterisk.
Don't you see how silly it is to
I
say
know how
who
silly it is, Sam.
deserves to be here when they're actually there doing it? And
absolutely,
look at these performances. They're outworking Kevin Durant at his absolute apex. They're outdoing the Phoenix Suns when the Suns are fully healthy. They're rising to the occasions. They're overcoming their demons, and you are still calling them undeserving and unwilling to give them credit until they win a championship.
Again, this core has set that tone with past failures, and you're acting like they're the little engine that could. They got a multiple-time MVP on their hands with Chris Middleton, and we went over, obviously, how great Chris Middleton's road has been. PJ Tucker was a great addition. Drew Holiday, they were supposed to have their own big three. This is not some kind of surprise that the Bucks should be here, but their path to get here has been very suspect. So I don't know how that's arguable.
Okay, so it's not a surprise that they're here, but they're undeserving of being here. That's the two ways you're going to play this.
Yes, because I think proof
that
has
they
been
should
in the pudding.
They should be here, but they're undeserving of being
Well,
here.
they shouldn't be here if the Nets were healthy. They should.
But they're not the little engine that could.
They're not the little
So
engine
they
that
don't
could.
deserve credit for getting past the Nets, but they should have been here.
Because they have had so many letdowns in games that they shouldn't have letdowns in. But they're here, and they absolutely have battled back from 2-0. And if they win this title, I don't think I'll put an asterisk. They'll deserve it.
Oh, you won't put an asterisk. I'm glad to know that in your personal record book, you won't put an
I
asterisk.
think you're coming after me thinking I'm the only one with this take on the Bucks. We had several people agree that time.
Well, I don't care about other people because they're not on this show with a microphone. Their takes suck too. People that have this take suck the life and the joy out of sports. These are winners. This is a team giving their city, look at that, tens of thousands of people are happy, are thrilled, are dancing, are joyous. They have a chance within 2 games to capture a legacy, a history, a moment in time. They have a chance to bring their city their first championship in 50 years. They have a wonderful player with the best attitude in Giannis. They have an unbelievable story in Chris Middleton. They're rising to the occasion. They've done all the things right to this point in time. And yet still you would say, but they didn't do it by my definition of success because the team that they played was injured or they didn't do it in a quick enough amount of time that they're undeserving. Do you see how self-absorbed that take is for that team that's doing everything right?
But I'm explaining the take 2 weeks ago. Now I'm telling you, they are here. They've risen to the occasion.
But you're still calling them undeserving.
I meant they were undeserving in their path to get here now. But now that they are here, enough time has passed, the dust has settled, and they are proving that maybe some of those injuries weren't going to be an excuse. If they go up against this Phoenix team that I don't think they're better than and go win, that completely then changes the narrative of saying, well, how could you assume that Kyrie was hurt and yada, yada, yada. All those things I'm talking about, you get to rewrite all of those question marks by beating the Suns here because the Suns are fully on the cards on the table here. And it would prove that, you know what, then maybe you can't just assume those things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The take can change from 2 weeks ago, which is exactly how I finished that take when I said, let them not be the Buffalo Bills before we do this. You were saying 2 weeks ago, we should assume to write them into greatness when their past recent history tells us we shouldn't.
I didn't say assume that they're going to go into greatness.
Well, you said they didn't deserve to be criticized when they did.
I said, why would you not focus on the winning since they're the winners? Why would you still tear down the winners? Because they're not winning by our definition of proper winning.
Because you have to combine that with waiting for the shoe to fall because of what this Bucks core had given you a taste in the mouth of, which is letdown.
I believe in applauding the winners. I believe in appreciating the greatness or the winning because the winning's so hard no matter who you're playing against. And other people are just haters. And that's what you do with every team that's not your team. You hate on them. You trash every team that has ever beaten your team. And they beat the Nets. They beat the Nets. And so they're undeserving. But you know what? Just the fact that they're 2-2 in this series suggests that even with Kyrie, maybe they would have been able to beat the Nets.
I just said.
Even at 2-2, though, but you need them to actually win the championship.
Well, hold on. We all do this. You wanted the Cubs to suffer more before winning that World Series.
But not because they beat the Mets.
No, but there was
That's because I assumed they were going to win 5 more championships. It wasn't because I hated the Cubs.
All right, but still, you really were. You're saying I'm pouring haterade on teams that aren't my own. I've seen you melt down about the Patriots.
Well, because the Patriots have won 1,000 championships, and I felt at some point in time that run had to end so that other franchises could enjoy the same taste of success. And for the Cubs, I rooted against them because I wanted the Indians, as long-suffering Indians fans and a city as well, to enjoy a taste. But for you, you're just bitter because they beat your team and you can't give them credit.
That is not why I was bitter. That was not why I was bitter. They had nothing to do with the Nets the last couple of years when they were let down.
I've seen you and Mike Biseglia, who are both super fans of the Nets on Twitter, say that you can't even watch the playoffs because the Nets aren't in it. You've actually said this on Twitter.
He said that.
And you said it's been tough.
It's been tough. Yes, it's tough when you think that your team was going to be there. It doesn't mean I'm not watching. Of course, when your team gets eliminated,
so you don't think you're somewhat bitter if it's been tough to watch this brilliant, beautiful NBA playoffs?
No, because if you knew me well enough, I have always loved this narrative, and this is probably the worst narrative I've ever had. If my team is going to lose, I want them to lose to the eventual champion because that gives me the best excuse for why my team lost.
So then why has it been so tough to watch the Bucks?
It's been tough not to watch the Bucks, the playoffs in general, knowing, wow, this could have been our taste. We thought this was going to be our taste. We're going to get to a parade. It's not a Bucks thing. It's just more of these next 3 weeks, I envision these being glory weeks for my favorite team.
So you don't think any part of your resistance to giving the Bucks credit, a city that you would love, a town that is built for you, pork and cheese and beer,
literally, it feels like I was made in Milwaukee. Absolutely.
A franchise that has never had a winner for years and years and years, which you claim that you tend to support fan bases that are long suffering.
Absolutely. As are the Suns.
That you would at this point say they're undeserving, has nothing to do with that the Nets were your team.
No, and it's everything to do with how the Bucks got here and what their past basically collapses have felt like. I will be the first to applaud everybody in Milwaukee and congratulate them if they win these next 2 games because I feel they'd absolutely be deserving because I even said I didn't think they would beat the Suns. I'm telling you now, this has nothing to do with the Nets and everything to do with, wow, how many times is the Giannis-led Buck team going to choke? And, oh, wow, they could have choked here and they got very fortunate with injury. Now there's none of that versus Phoenix. There's none of that. Backs against the wall, and they went out there and did their job. They deserve all the credit in the world. How many times do I have to say they deserve credit in the last 5 minutes?
Well, I guess as long as you say they deserve credit and don't say they're not deserving.
2 weeks ago, I would not have called them deserving.
No, but today you also said they're not deserving.
Because you played a clip from 2 weeks ago, and I was telling you my mind frame 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you don't believe that now?
No, I do not.
Oh,
I believe they are absolutely deserving in these 2 games. Now, I will say this. You were talking as if the Bucks have won this series. Don't you feel now at 2-2, knowing everything about the Bucks' recent history and knowing the path that it's gotten here, that this is time to seize the moment for Milwaukee? And now as we stand with a best of 3 ahead of us, it would feel like a minor letdown if they didn't?
I mean, these are 2 great teams. They're great teams.
Absolutely.
They got to win a road game in Phoenix where the Suns have been phenomenal. I'm sure the Suns are going to play great. Devin Booker is amazing. Like, if they lose these next 2 games, it's not some type of sin. It's not some type of shame.
And 2 of them are in Phoenix. So you probably should expect the Suns to win. But I do think, and I don't think I bet you there are Buck fans out there, and probably a lot of them, that would feel now, you know what? Knowing what we've been through the last couple of years with this core, this feels like the time has to be now. And we can't let it slip away.
Well, you certainly don't want to let it slip away because they might never get back. That is absolutely a reality in professional sports. I just can't get over feeling like a team. And you're sure you didn't say a few minutes ago that this Bucks team is undeserving of being here.
Knowing the audio is recorded and how quickly Pete could pull it, I will tell you, if I did say that, that is not what I meant in my mind. And I am fixing that now.
Because I feel like in the flow of this conversation, you said, if the Nets were healthy, they'd be here. That's why the Bucks are undeserving.
Well, I do feel if the Nets were healthy, they'd be here, but that doesn't make the Bucks non-deserving now when you look at how they've approached and came back with Phoenix.
Okay.
And you know what? You can pull the tape all you want. Maybe I did say it and maybe I sounded like an idiot, but it wouldn't be the first time nor the last time. I want it on record.
But you don't mean that.
No, I meant my mind frame because you pulled a clip from 2 weeks ago of how I felt. I don't change the way about how I felt 2 weeks ago in that moment. I am telling you now 2 weeks later how I am differently looking at the Bucks because of the way they've handled this NBA Finals.
Okay, so you would say that the Milwaukee Bucks deserve to be in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's the most important piece of this.
Can we have a chip now?
When we come back, look at these delicious Pringles canisters next to me. We taste test Wendy's spicy chicken flavor, rotisserie chicken flavor, and pineapple habanero. Watch on YouTube at the CBS Sports Radio channel there. It's live. CBS Sports Radio channel on YouTube. We will do it next. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Talk was meant to be on an imaginary spaceship.
Howdy do-do-do. Howdy do-do-do. Oh, howdy do-do-do-do. Howdy do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Howdy diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly-do. How are you?
DA on CBS Sports Radio.
The save of the week, sponsored by Credit Karma Money. Open your free FDIC insured account with no minimum balance, no overdraft fees, and free withdrawals. Go to creditkarma.com. How about Liam Hendricks of the White Sox slamming the door on his AL leading 23rd save on Saturday? Recorded the save of the All-Star game as well for the American League. The White Sox have an 8-game lead over the Indians of the American League Central as they get set to host the Astros this weekend. We have had to pull a few strings, use a little duct tape and Elmer's glue to put this thing together, but we do have a live simulcast going on as we speak for the taste test. You can watch us on YouTube at CBS Sports Radio's channel on YouTube. Go to YouTube, simply search CBS Sports Radio, hit the channel. You should be able to find the live feed there. If not, we will post the video of the taste test challenge as soon as the show is over. We promise we'll put it on our social media channels. That's on Twitter and on Facebook, facebook.com/The DA Show. And then we'll post it on all of our personal Twitter channels. So I have in front of me 3 different types of Pringles that I found at a Walgreens the other day. I mentioned this yesterday that I found these at a Walgreens near where I live. Apparently, nobody else has been able to find them. Bogues went to multiple different Walgreens, couldn't find them. Aiden couldn't find them as well. I know listeners were not able to find them. So my takeaway is my Walgreens that I went to is a budget Walgreens that has old stock that's probably like a year old. And that's why this stuff is 29 cents.
That's good to know.
Yes. The rotisserie. So don't get your pharmaceuticals or any of your prescriptions at this Walgreens.
Got it.
This rotisserie chicken flavor, the cashier told me was 29 cents. The other ones were $1.99. I've never seen a Pringles can for 29 cents. So that just tells you how awful it is. Mraz, you've opened these up. Have you taken a whiff of any of these cans?
Yes, I would say that the mango habanero was the most pungent smelling. It smelled fruity. It smelled like vacation.
Really?
It had a little bit of a good oomph to it.
Okay, so I just smell pineapple habanero. It's got a little spice.
Yeah.
Rotisserie chicken. Oh, that smells like an old bird.
I was going to say shoe.
Oh, boy.
Like a barbecued shoe.
Oh,
Mango habanero.
Boy. Rotisserie chicken smells like when Shep eats some chicken from the bodega and leaves it in the trash for 3 days.
And remember, that could be rotisserie chicken chips sitting in Walgreens for a year, too.
That's true. And then spicy chicken doesn't really have a smell.
Smells like Pringles.
It smells simply like Pringles. So which are you most excited about?
Well, it's got to be the Wendy's spicy chicken because, first of all, the Wendy's spicy chicken is one of my favorite fast food items in the world anyway. So if you get a chip to emulate that smell, like if you gave me a Big Mac chip, I'd be psyched too.
Okay.
So for that, I'm of course I'm into that. Rotisserie chicken, I have a feeling they're just giving you whatever seasonings on the rotisserie chicken and throwing that on a chip. And I feel like I've been there, done that with spice and fruit chips. So I kind of feel like I know what I'm getting with the pineapple habanero.
All right. Pete the Body, cue the music. Okay, so I think we should start off, all 3 of us, with the wavy pineapple habanero. Okay?
Okay.
Now, wavy, how do you feel like the wavy will affect the potato chip?
So I have often been a fan of wavier flavored chips because more seasoning can sit in the crevices, if you will, kind of like my car sat in that trench that was built in the flood.
Right.
It gives more room for that. A wavy chip is also deeper and better for dipping as well in general, although Pringles really aren't the dip type of chip. So I've never actually had a wavy Pringle in general, so I'm curious on the taste.
Me too. Now, these are not real potato chips. Remember, they are potato flavored crisps, right? Or
Oh, I didn't know
crisps.
that. I thought they were considered a chip.
Well, I think that these are all potato particles that are ground up and then they're made into the shapes of Pringles.
Gotcha. I don't read a book. How am I going to read the can of a Pringle?
Okay, here we go, guys. Ew. No, I don't like that.
I do.
It tastes like canned pineapples. I don't get the habanero in there.
Mine was very spicy. That's actually really good.
Get the habanero at the end.
It tastes kind of stale, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. No, these have been sitting there for a while. There's no question about that.
That's why nobody could find them. These have to be 6 to 8 months old, minimum.
So, truth be told, here's what I'm getting out of flavor. You really are right about the canned pineapple. They have emulated the pineapple taste perfectly. And you get enough kick on the back end where you don't feel like you're just drinking fruit juice in chip form. So I think that you couldn't just make a pineapple chip or just not a habanero chip. I do feel like they complement each other well. When you need Middleton for 40, that could be the habanero. You get it. When Giannis has his 40, that could be obviously the habanero. You get it. So I do think you get a little Bucks flavor to that chip.
I guess I'm like you, Pete. I just don't like fruit in my chip.
Oh, I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for like really sweet.
Yeah,
in
this is a
chip.
very sweet potato
But
chip.
we've been there, done that with Fruit and Lay's. There was a mango salsa chip we've had in the past for
Yeah.
sure.
I didn't like them either.
I think we might have had some kind of apple flavored chip at some point.
Pass. Wouldn't eat that again.
If it was not stale, would you eat it again?
No.
All right.
It's the fruit thing. I don't want pineapple flavored potato chips.
Okay.
I don't want cherry flavored, strawberry flavored, apple flavored. Okay, let's go Wendy's spicy chicken. You're most excited about this.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's cleanse the palate here, everybody. Take a swig of water.
Okay. And it should be noted, just art form wise, this has, I think, the most random color to the chip. There are spurts of red, almost like it was red tie-dyed throughout the chip.
It's a good point. And in terms of the cover art for the pineapple habanero, it is a potato chip with a half-cut pineapple on flames that's next to it, and then habanero peppers in flames as well, sliding down the ridges of the chip. For this one,
the can in flames.
that's right. For this one, the Wendy's spicy chicken, the can is in flames, and the Pringles man is actually tearing up.
Oh, he's crying.
He's crying.
He's crying.
He's crying. And then the Wendy's girl is on it. Wendy's spicy chicken. It says naturally and artificially flavored. Shockingly, there's some artificial flavors in this.
She's not crying, so maybe she just dumped the Pringles man or didn't swipe on Tinder properly.
Okay, so let's try this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So it doesn't. It's not bad, but it doesn't fully emulate the spicy chicken sandwich deal.
It's got no bot.
It's just spicy.
It doesn't have enough body. It has the spices of the spicy chicken sandwich.
Right. You're biting into this chip and you're actually missing the chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I don't hate the chip, but I'm not like there needs to be some kind of moist breast exploding here. Like a,
Moist breast exploding.
It's actually a disappointment because it gives you just enough of a taste of a Wendy's chicken sandwich without the satisfaction of the Wendy's chicken sandwich.
So just to take you through my mental state, I bite into this and I'm getting like a little bit of that cheese, the Asiago they usually do on the ranch chicken club there. I get a little bit of the ranch dressing. So you're not getting the chip. But when you hit the spices that you're getting here you're expecting to bite into your mouth. And I get that white breast that just falls apart and comes into my mouth and it's juicy and your flavors dance. And then those moisture pellets electrify the spicy pellets that are already in your mouth. And then now you got a party. You got Ricky Martin playing music in your mouth. And you're missing that. This chip is a tease.
Yeah.
It's a tease.
Yeah.
It's a girl that knows all the right angles on Facebook. And then you see her in person like, oh, what happened?
I actually think it's a pretty damn good chip.
It's a pretty good chip because it's not overwhelming. It's not too heavy. It's not,
You can eat a lot of these, but it's going to leave you wanting.
I'll tell you where it works advertising wise, because now I feel disappointed and I want to go get a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. So it's inevitably going to be my lunch route on the way home. And so they've done their job there and they got the nice looking chicken sandwich on that can. And I'm going to need to be satisfied for what I was missing now this morning.
I could see you though housing an entire canister of these.
Oh, there's no doubt. But I mean, that honestly goes for any flavor.
Okay. Well, that passes. It's serviceable. Cleanse the palate one last time. All right, finally, rotisserie chicken. Now, this has the art is a rotisserie chicken getting cut with a big butcher's knife and a chip coming out of the chicken.
That's a good logo. It's better than the All-Star Game jerseys from this week.
Shockingly, this also says artificially flavored. If you were wondering if there were natural rotisserie chicken flavors in
Yes,
this.
they just lay the potato chips there as the juices drip on it.
Pringles organic rotisserie chicken.
Organic.
Free range.
Whole Foods.
Let's try these. Oh my God. Oh my God, these are awful.
I'm not even doing a second.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Not even worth a quarter.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I feel like I just kissed my dog after it licked the turkey pan on Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Oh.
These are bottom 3 potato chips I've ever had and maybe the worst. And we have tasted a lot of awful potato chips. This is objectively one of the worst potato chips of all time.
I don't like how I feel now. I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all.
It tastes like dog food.
It does. I'm telling you, it tastes. I know Eli on Thanksgiving night when he comes up and licks me, and that's what I'm getting. It even tastes like his breath.
Yes.
More turkey than chicken, too.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know that. Oh,
yeah.
And by the way,
oh God,
can I just say, this is why Robin the 321, as great a listener he is, sucks sometimes as a person.
He said this was okay.
Oh, it tastes like barbecue chips. Rob, what barbecue chips are you getting them from? Foot Locker? I mean, my goodness, they're terrible.
Oh, geez. This is terrible. This really is a terrible tasting chip.
Oh.
No wonder this was 29 cents. No wonder nobody bought this.
And it ain't organic either.
Oh. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
not subtle.
you need to scale that back a little bit if they want to make it work.
But the flavor itself, who in their right mind is in some type of taste test facility and goes, yeah, this will work?
I'm getting more of the Wendy's chips because I can't go out on that note.
Oh, my God. Ew.
That's awful.
Oh, God. This really does taste like, you're right, the bottom of a turkey pan.
Oh.
It's like when the turkey gelatin starts coagulating after Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And then it might get on like your string beans or something.
Oh.
That's what this tastes like. This is so heinous.
Oh.
Rotisserie chicken flavored Pringles. Oh, God.
I don't even want Thanksgiving this year now.
Oh.
This should be sold as turkey gravy.
Yeah. It's more of a turkey gravy and a really disgusting version of it. Oh. Awful. Right, and thus concludes our taste test.
Oh.
AB has our headlines. Good morning, Bogues.
So I went to 6 places looking for these, and maybe half of one was worthwhile.
That's right. Half of the Wendy's spicy chicken was worthwhile. Everything else was trash.
Interesting. And you had a second one of those rotisserie. I was watching. You had a second one. You went back to that well for some reason.
I had to make sure that I was properly taste testing it. Got to finish the game.
Our headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com. Chris Middleton has had some bad games at bad times, like scoring just 11 as the Bucks lost game 2 of these finals in Phoenix, but he's also had some good games at good times, like game 4 last night.
Here's Middleton against Bridges. Middleton, mid-range 2 for the lead. Good! Middleton
$101.99. 90 seconds to go in the game. 34 for Middleton.
That's Ted Davis on Bucks Radio. Middleton in the process of scoring 10 consecutive points over 2 minutes late in the fourth. He had 14 total in that final period, 40 for the game to drag the Bucks to a 109-103 win and a 2-2 series. Giannis, 26 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, and that historic block. And with 1:15 to go, Giannis denying DeAndre Ayton above the rim an alley-oop that would have tied the game. The Suns had another chance to get even, but Chris Paul committed his 5th turnover, dribbling the ball off of his foot. Phoenix 17 total turnovers, leading to 24 points. Paul had 5 of them, scoring just 10. Devin Booker put up 42, but missed 5 minutes of that fourth quarter after getting his 5th foul. So he and the Suns go home now in a 2-2 series. Game 5 is Saturday night. British police have arrested 4 for online racist abuse of the 3 Black English players that missed PKs in Sunday's Euro 2020 finale. Police are still compiling info from social media companies, so more arrests are likely. Round 1 of the Open Championship at Royal St. George's, Jordan Spieth and Louis Oosthuizen now share the lead. They are both 5 under late in their opening rounds. Brian Harman, Mackenzie Hughes, 1 shot behind them. And the WNBA All-Star Game had a little more juice, like Pete likes it, than usual. Team USA playing non-American and or non-Olympian All-Stars. And that team, WNBA, got the win, 93-85 in Vegas. Arike Ogunbowale named MVP after a game-high 26. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bogues. Great job. Sorry you weren't here to enjoy the festivities, but probably for the best. Right now, Mraz is kind of sweating and looking really sick.
I don't feel right after that. I don't.
When we come back, would you spend $92 to spend the day with Scottie Pippen? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This year like last year, the best is right here on CBS.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
51 minutes past the hour. DA with you here on CBS Sports Radio. Thanks so much for joining us. A little reminder that the DA Show each and every morning is available on hundreds of affiliates nationwide and north of the border, but also on Sirius XM channel 206. And you can tell your smart speaker to play CBS Sports Radio. And if it's not finding it, you can tell it to play CBS Sports Radio presented by Odyssey. Hopefully that'll find it. If that doesn't work, maybe you just want to use the ticket in Boise. I don't know. I'm just saying. From a bone. KTIK, Boise. You know that they take our full 4 hours of the show. So Scottie Pippen's renting his home on Airbnb. And you can watch the Olympics there in his home theater. And I believe you get to stay the night, right? It's a night.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because you get multiple games. So I don't know if you stay all 3 nights or it's 3 different people.
Well, I think that you get one night for 4 people. So I think there's 2 bedrooms. And it's $92 per night in his mansion. Now, I don't know if you get the whole run of the entire mansion because apparently it's a 5-bedroom mansion. So maybe there's a wing that you get that's cordoned off from the rest of the house. I'm not sure. If you get the entire mansion for $92 a night, that's an absolute steal. An absolute steal. If you've ever looked at Airbnb prices, that's a good price for a hotel, let alone a really nice hotel, let alone an Airbnb that's a mansion. You never find that rate.
Right. But then I also feel like you need to have timed out a trip to Illinois perfectly because that would be when you're looking for the Airbnb. Like if I was already going, I might as well just do this at Scottie Pippen's house. We need this place to stay anyway.
Seems like it's a dirt cheap price. I thought Scottie was there, but you told me no, he's not at the house.
No, the more you read into it, he appears on a screen like Willy Wonka and gives you a virtual introduction to coming into his house.
So Scottie Wonka says, welcome to Scottie Pippen's house.
Right. MJ didn't tell the truth. That whole thing at the beginning.
Right. Yeah. Phil Jackson's a racist.
Right.
Welcome to my home.
Gives you the bullet points right into that.
And you get to watch the Olympics. Now, I guess they chose $92 for the 92 Dream Team Olympics is what I'm guessing.
That would make sense.
And there's some type of Olympic tie-in, and I think part of the proceeds go to charity, so that's cool. But I think that, wasn't Scottie bankrupt at one time? I feel like he's selling whiskey now. He's renting out his house for Olympics. He must need
wrote
some
a book.
He He must need some cash coming in.
That's distinctly possible and likely, though. Maybe instead of renting the mansion, you scale back and sell the mansion to get some cash back.
I think that they tried to sell it, him and his wife, and they couldn't get their asking price. And so now they're just renting it to randos to watch the Olympics.
Yeah, so now they're cheaper than a red roofing.
So would you spend $92?
I guess it would have to be. I wanted to watch the Olympic basketball game to begin with, right? Because that's what you watch the game there. If I planned on getting together with 3 buddies and doing that, and I lived in that area, so why don't we just do this at Scottie Pippen's house? Then I think I would do it.
It seems dirt cheap because there's only so many games. So what? There's maybe 5 of these chances to do it?
I think he's only doing it for the first round of 3 games, not even the medal rounds.
So I think this is dirt cheap. I definitely would do this. If I'm anywhere near Chicago, I'm taking in a Cubs game, going to the Cubby Bear, getting some deep dish. I'm going to go hang out at Pippen's house for the night. That's a cheap rate, $92 for the night. I'll do that. That's great.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a beautiful morning. Good morning. Good morning. Wake up, mister. Starting up a brand new day. It's such a good vibration. Such a temptation. It's such a CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, what's up? The anchor mission to enter the mothership, brother.
Ever heard a sports talk show like this before? Didn't think so.
What's going on, Dirty?
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Thursday to you, boys and girls. I got one question only. How do you feel?
Well, I feel good, and I'm doing well.
Oh, that's all that really matters.
Aw, I love the
And
dog.
we come to you live from the Rocket Mortgage Studios. When you need cash out of your home and a simple way to get it, Rocket can. How about last night? Game 4. By far the best game of the NBA Finals. Back and forth affair. The Bucks overcome a late deficit. Chris Middleton goes off. Giannis's block late on the lob pass to Ayton. And the Bucks survive to get game number 4. Make it a 2-2 series. Game 5 in Phoenix this weekend. Our next guest knows the head coach of the Phoenix Suns pretty well. Actually played with him during his NBA career. He was drafted out of Notre Dame into the NBA, ironically by the Milwaukee Bucks. Ended up playing for the Phoenix Suns and the Orlando Magic. He was formerly the Big East Player of the Year and then the assistant GM in Detroit with the Pistons. Joining us this morning here on the show, Pat Garrity. Pat, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
You too. Did you stay up for it all last night, bleary-eyed this morning?
Oh, yes. And I was getting yelled at by my wife, who was in bed trying to sleep, yelling at me to be quiet. It was a fantastic game. And, just the interesting thing about that game is if you look at the stats after the game, it was crazy that it was even that close. When you look at the shot disparity and the turnovers and the offensive rebounds, but just a fantastic game, fantastic individual performance.
What'd you make of Chris Middleton going off at the end of that game? His story, his journey is so interesting as a second-round draft pick and a G League player early to developing into a go-to scorer in a crucial game of the NBA Finals. What does that tell you about him?
Well, I think, number one, it sets to bed any question about if he is a true number 2 on any team. And I think the thing that you've seen in this playoffs is that if you don't have guys that can create their own shots and make shots in the mid-range, especially off the dribble, it's going to be really difficult to score. And so to me, that was the most impressive thing with what he did, is that everybody knew who the ball was going to in the fourth quarter. I mean, they've done that the whole series. They put it in Chris Middleton's hands. And the way he's being defended and the way that the series is being called is they're allowing a physical game, and he's still able to rise up, create space, and make shots with that type of defense. So it's just been an incredible career and development of him as a player over these last 7 or 8 years.
We saw that would-be sixth foul not called on Devin Booker. It was an atrocious non-call, should have been the foul, but they did not call it, which, as you said, alludes to the fact that they're letting a lot of plays go. Who does that benefit in the final 3 games?
Well, I think there's no question it benefits Milwaukee. Because if you look at Milwaukee's team in a half court, it's not pretty. They've had a hard time scoring in the half court. But where they've been able to create offense is by being physical on the defensive end and creating turnovers, and then being physical on the offensive glass and getting second chance points there. So I think that there's no question that it benefits Milwaukee, even though Phoenix is a tough physical team. You alluded to the Devin Booker foul. My favorite part about that was that he was actually lobbying for a jump ball on that call. After the replay showed he had one hand around Holiday's waist and the other just like mauling his arms.
Yeah, Book, sorry. When you drag a ball carrier down to the floor, that's not a jump ball. Sorry. Pat Garrity joins us this morning here on the show. So do you feel like the Bucks have seized, quote, control of the series, or it's dependent on home teams right now dominating their games?
Yeah, I think that this is even though the last 2 games it felt like Milwaukee was dominating it. I think the thing that you have to look at is that Chris Paul has had 2 pretty poor games. Devin Booker's had 1 poor game. I think this thing is far from over. I think when they go back to Phoenix, they're definitely going to clean up a lot of the turnovers and the poor transition defense. I'm talking about Phoenix here. And so, yeah, I think that this is far from over. And originally I was looking at a 7-game series, and I hope it stays true to that.
Chris Paul's 36 years old, and in game number 2, he played 41 minutes, and since then has kind of flatlined. Do you think overuse in game 1 and game 2 might have affected Chris Paul negatively in these last 2?
I don't know. It's hard to say, without being there. They do have, obviously they have some time between games here. He did play a lot of minutes in the first game, but I don't know, especially since the way he plays isn't a high tempo game. It's not like he's attacking the rim, and he plays at a very deliberate pace. So I don't think it was, and I definitely think he wouldn't tell you it was minutes or fatigue or anything like that.
Pat Garrity joins us this morning here on the show, breaking down the NBA Finals win last night by the Milwaukee Bucks. Monty Williams has been on the same team playing with Monty Williams, and Monty has just been an incredible, valuable asset guiding this Suns team this far. Of course, he hasn't won the last 2 games, but what is your assessment of Monty as former player and now as a head coach that has made him such a good fit with the Suns?
Well, I think the number one thing, obviously you have to have the tactical side of things down and being able to game plan and manage your assistants, all that kind of stuff. But I think the thing that sets him apart and what's made him such a good head coach is his ability to form relationships with players. And if you look across the NBA right now, I mean, that's the thing that sets the good coaches apart from kind of everyone else, is that everybody knows, how to play an NBA style game. And then you're given a group of guys and how to make each of those guys most effective and put the right groups on the floor. But to get them to do what you want to do, you have to have personal connections with them. And it's not just about being friends. It's about holding them accountable and, kind of giving them tough love when they need to give tough love, but also, knowing that you care about them. And I think that to me, when I think about Monty, is probably his greatest strength.
Seems like he's a guy that not only has the respect of his players, but just about everybody around the league. He's been on some pretty esteemed staffs around the NBA. And when his wife passed away, there was this real authentic outpouring of sympathy and emotion from the league and a lot of coaching staffs for Monty Williams. What's his reputation within coaching circles in the NBA?
Well, I think it's stellar, and you hit it right on the head. I mean, as a player, he played 9 years, played for a lot of different teams, but was a role player and had, injuries toward the end of his career. And so for a lot of people in the league, you can relate to him. You can relate to the kind of career that he had. And then after his career, he put his time in. I mean, he was an assistant for a long time in Portland, and then went to OKC, got the head coaching job in New Orleans. So he's a guy that I think that everybody respects, both in terms of what he did in his career, but also the work and the time that he put in to become a head coach. He wasn't a guy that got thrust into that seat right away. He really put the time in and put the work in. So I think that more than anything is what coaches in the NBA respect.
Pat Garrity joins us this morning on the show. Since we just referenced Chris Middleton a couple of minutes ago and his journey from the G League to now a star performance at the NBA Finals, is this one of those vindications that players in the G League are worthy of development, are worthy of scouting, are worthy of the investment, because down the road it can really pay off with huge dividends?
Oh, no question about it. And you see that with other guys too. There are a number of guys, and it's not a lot, because normally if you have a physical profile like Chris Middleton and are as skilled as he is, you're going to get kind of opportunities early. But there are cases where those guys don't, and they're overlooked. And it takes time. And the G League is only, I think, getting better at doing that kind of thing. It's shifted a little bit now more toward younger players who opt not to go to college. And so I think we're going to be seeing more of that, where these guys aren't, it's not apparent right away that they're going to be NBA players because they're so young. But, there's no question that that's what the NBA has been trying to achieve over the last decade. And they've had success, in my opinion.
You've worked in the front office. You've been an assistant general manager with the Detroit Pistons. So let's look at the Clippers situation. Do you think the Clippers want Kawhi Leonard to opt back in for this player option third year, knowing that he's got an ACL tear and just had surgery?
Well, if I were the Clippers, I would want him to opt out and then immediately sign a new 3-year deal to have it locked up.
Okay.
But I think that, obviously, you don't know the extent of how long the rehab is going to be and all that kind of stuff. But you see guys coming back from ACLs. It might take a little while, but I don't think there's any question that they want him back. They're going to do everything to try to lock him up long term. But and I think the ball's probably still in his court. When you have players at that level, they're oftentimes the ones dictating kind of the terms of how long they're going to be around and the optionality that they have around it.
Do you think that Chris Paul changed any dynamics for GMs moving forward in future off seasons that might have a young group of players and might want to let those young players flourish, but now would look at an aging superstar that might be, quote, overpaid by the looks of his contract and say, yeah, but he gives us guidance and leaderships and take us to the next level? Or is Chris Paul kind of a unicorn and you can't try to replicate it?
I think it's a unique case, because if you look at guys of his stature and it's his point in his career, a lot of those guys are trying to get to teams where there's already an established, superstar and a core that's a championship level team. And that wasn't apparent when Chris Paul made the push to get to Phoenix. So I think that's one of the best stories of the year, is that he wanted to go to that team, and he recognized what they had both in Devin Booker and Ayton and then some of the role players around them, and what they had in Monty and the coaching staff. So yeah, I think that this is a little bit of a unique story. I don't think that this is something that I can't think of another player who might replicate this kind of outcome.
In the
I'm just thinking like a Westbrook or someone like that. I can't imagine that happening in that case.
In the upcoming NBA draft, we're going to have Cade Cunningham from Oklahoma State likely to be the number 1 overall pick. But there's 3 guys there that you can make the case could all be the number 1 pick: Jalen Green, as well as Evan Mobley as well. Jalen Suggs, the excellent guard out of Gonzaga. So there's going to be pretty elite talent in the top 3 or 4 picks of this NBA draft. Is this one of the better NBA drafts that we've seen in recent years in terms of that top end talent?
Yeah, it seems at the top 4, it really is. Especially with, 3 of those guys, with the exception of Evan Mobley, being primary ball handler scorers that you can look at their game and envision them. Okay, that guy is going to be able to be a primary scorer on our team. Whereas, a lot of times in those top 4 or 5 positions, you're drafting after maybe the number 1 pick based on like the physical profile. And thinking this guy's a special athlete and he has, special size and we can develop his skills. Those 3 guys are already skilled ball handlers, scorers right now. Obviously it's going to take some time. So it does seem like it's a deep draft from those top positions.
Pat Garrity played in the NBA for a decade, is a front office executive, formerly the assistant general manager in Detroit, joining us this morning on the show. This is a lot of fun. Pat, let's do this again, man. Great stuff. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Damon. Have a good one. Thank you.
My pleasure. You too. Pat Garrity joining us this morning on the show. Really good stuff from Pat. We just wrapped up also last hour our Pringles taste test. And Mraz, you're not feeling so hot after these.
No, in fact, I missed the first 3 minutes of Pat. I had to run and use the restroom because I'm a little nauseous feeling. Hot. I feel very hot.
Any vom?
No, but a lot of like something's not sitting well, and I don't know what's going to happen later.
A couple of people are asking me on Twitter what the fresh by date is, and they don't have dates on these.
My guess is Pringles could survive a nuclear explosion, so I don't know that they have a date.
One of them has a look for the flavor seal and an arrow up top. But I think that just means, is it still sealed? Where if you're buying Pringles that are unsealed, you've got bigger problems than when they were made.
Yeah, somebody rummaged through a pharmacy and popped them open and then walked out.
I think these are old. I think that's why nobody could find them anywhere.
This is like a Belle Bisque DeVoe minor.
Although we do have a small secret here, okay? A small clue, I should say. On the wavy pineapple habaneros, there is a trip for 2 to Mexico or Hawaii. And when you have to buy them between May of 2021 and September of 2021. And then take a picture of yourself with it, upload it, and submissions must be completed by October of 2021. So this is still within the window of fresh enough to purchase, but it does say began on May the 15th. So possible that all of these are a couple of months old, or because the rotisserie chicken was 29 cents and the others were $1.99, that the others are 2 months old and the rotisserie chicken is 2 years old.
Any of that doesn't sound good to me. The only good thing is maybe we should try to win that trip. We are eligible.
Uh-oh.
No, don't tell me we could win a trip in 1919 with the Pringles.
Oh, no. Chicken. Oh, no. Another clue, guys. Oh, this is not good.
I am not feeling great.
Oh, this is not good at all. Oh, my God. I think we have a clue. The Pringles wavy pineapple habanero and Wendy's spicy chicken both say at the bottom, TM trademark Pringles LLC 2021. Okay. Both Wendy's and pineapple habanero. The rotisserie trademark Pringles LLC 2019.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
2-year-old Pringles that taste like dog breath.
Oh my goodness. No wonder they were 29 cents. These are 2 years old.
My head temperature has gone up about 30 degrees since having these.
Oh,
and they got some nerve collecting 29 cents on something that expired 2 years ago.
Really? I should have bought these on consignment.
They shouldn't put that on the shelf.
Or you should have left them unpopped and we could have sold them for $1.64.
Oh. Copyright 2019 rotisserie chicken Pringles. Oh, God. Oh.
When we come back, Wayne Embry, the general manager of the 1971 championship Milwaukee Bucks, joins us. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
New on CBS.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
24 minutes past the hour. Happy Thursday to you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. You could watch us today on our YouTube channel, CBS Sports Radio. The live stream's going on there. But also after the show, we will post the entire show to watchda.com. So thanks for being patient with us this week with the simulcast. Our next guest is a pioneer, is a trailblazer, and is a basketball Hall of Famer. He is the first African-American GM in NBA history. He also led the Bucks to their only two previous NBA Finals appearances in 71 and 74. And he's currently a senior basketball advisor with the Toronto Raptors. Joining us this morning here on the show is Wayne Embry. Wayne, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing tremendous. Thank you so much for joining us. How exciting is it after last night to see not only the Bucks back in the NBA Finals, but playing such good basketball at home the last two games?
Yeah, they were very good last night. Chris Middleton showed up, and he was the difference, obviously, scoring 40 points.
Do you feel good for a guy like that, considering he was a second-round draft pick? He was a throw-in in a trade years ago. He's been criticized by some people as not being a good enough second banana to Giannis. But last night, he has such a moment.
Well, he can shoot the ball, and he was very good at mid-range last night, which made a difference. And he plays hard, he plays smart, and, I think you can count on him.
No question about it. Wayne Embry joining us this morning on the show. One of the most amazing things I find about your career is that you began in front offices back in the early 70s, really late 60s, but with the Bucks in the early 70s. And then you moved on to the Cavaliers of the 80s and 90s and the Toronto Raptors in 06. By the time you're the GM of the Toronto Raptors in the mid-aughts compared to when you first got into the front office, how much had NBA wheelings and dealings changed over that time?
Well, the game's played the same way. The teams that put together talent, but also teams that go out and compete will usually find their ways to advance in the playoffs. I think playoff competition is pretty much the same. Of course, the big difference is the three-point shot and the effect that analytics has had on coaching. But I'm an old school guy and firm believer that you have to play to win and take the shots that are there for you. And I think the Bucks did that last night, and the Suns have been doing that too, with Brooks and CP3, very effective at mid-range. And I think, but the game's played the same. The teams go out and compete and play smart and play hard. They're going to contend.
But the league, in terms of millionaire or $1 million contracts, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the draft and free agency and scouting, that must have been totally different when you were running the Raptors 15 years ago than it was when you started in the business.
Well, yeah, free agency definitely made a difference. But I think, as we saw several years ago with Miami signing or getting LeBron and signing Chris Bosh and Wayne Wade coming together to build championship teams. There's still some of that, but I think for the most part, you try to put together a team that is going to have continuity. We were able to win the championship in Toronto by making a terrific deal. Messiah and his team made a terrific deal to get Kawhi Leonard and later Mark Gasol, and that took us to the finals, and we were able to win the championship in 2019. And then the free agency bit us the next year with Kawhi going to the Clippers, and so that hurt us. But you just keep right on building, and hopefully you can put together a team that you can have continuity with. But I think for the most part, these athletes want to win. They want to win championships, and so they will come out to compete wherever they're playing.
Wayne Embry joins us this morning on the show, honored, inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame for an amazing career, including becoming the first African-American NBA general manager back in the early 70s with the Milwaukee Bucks. Did you find resistance and hurdles to overcome that early in the NBA's lineage because you were the first African-American general manager?
If there were, I didn't pay any attention to it. I just remained diligent. Attempted to be the best I could be and do the best I could. And I was asked if there were any significance to it, and I said it's only significant the only significance is that it is significant to others, and I got a job to do, and let me do it. Just call me the general manager in the Milwaukee Bucks and leave color race out of it. And, there, of course, were those who didn't like the fact that I was there, and the hate mail team and all that. But perseverance is a big word in my vocabulary, so you have to persevere through that and do the best you can.
And when you got the hate mail, what happens? You just see it and you toss it right in the garbage. You don't think about it? Or does it hurt you? Do you stew on it?
Well, you thought about it, but, again, as I said, you have to persevere through that. And that's the thing on throughout most of my career, but you have to persevere through it and try to be the best you can be. And you got to satisfy ownership, and you got to satisfy the fans who've been very supportive. And I think the fans, for the most part, were very supportive, and I have no regrets.
It's been pretty cool to see the city of Milwaukee explode again, and these home games of the NBA Finals. The crowd has been amazing, and the Deer District's been amazing, and all the Bucks alumni have come out, and Oscar and Kareem were there courtside last night. So this has just been really good. It must be exciting for you to see that city and your franchise alive again back at the NBA Finals, huh?
Well, it was great to see the Bucks come back. Of course, they have a great player in Giannis and good supporting cast, and I think Bud's done a pretty good job of coaching. And it's good to see them back in the finals and see where it goes from here. But I, of course, reflect back on the '74 series with Boston, and it brought back memories watching the game last night. And I was watching with some of my coworkers, and they asked me about that series in '74, and I said some of the things that stuck out to me were the fact that we were injured. Lisa Allen was out, and we had to play Mickey Davis big minutes, and he did an incredible job. And John McLaughlin was hobbling some, and so we still were able to compete with the Celtics. And I remember in the sixth game, this hook shot, the clean shot from the baseline that would end and win the game. It was just incredible. And unfortunately, we came back for Game 7, and we were out of gas, and the Celtics were on the win. I remember also after the game, we of course had bought champagne, expecting to celebrate a championship. And I was walking in the tunnel after the game, and I ran into Jan Volk, who was general manager of the Celtics at the time. And I said, Jan, I got champagne in the locker room. You're free to have it if you want it. And he said, well, I'll take it. But, Red never was a big on champagne. I said, yes, I remember that because I was playing on the 68 championship team with the Celtics. That I expected to have champagne in the locker room being my first, and it wasn't. And it's because Red didn't believe in it. So I said, well, you're the general manager. You can do what you want. And so and Tommy Heinsohn and the team enjoyed the champagne that I bought for the Bucks.
That's a great story. Wayne Embry joining us this morning on the show. True trailblazer in the game, a member of both the College Basketball Hall of Fame and the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Wayne, it's been fun to have you here on the show. Thanks for going down memory lane with us. I appreciate it. And congratulations on an amazing life and career.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope you guys have a healthy day and appreciate being on.
You too. Thanks, Wayne. Wayne Embry joining us this morning here on the show. What a life it has been. 84 years old. The first African-American GM, helped build the 71 and 74 Bucks, the one that won the championships in 71, the one that lost the Celtics in Game 7, as he said, in 74. Went on to become a longtime GM in the NBA with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 80s and 90s, and then also the Toronto Raptors, still in the front office there as a senior advisor. An amazing life and career. Played college basketball back in the 1950s, so he has seen it all. Standing by, headlines, kind sir, Andrew Bogish. Mr. Bogues, good morning.
DA, good morning again. So if you were watching Game 4 of the finals from the opening tip, you'll remember Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson's confusion over Giannis checking out after less than 2 minutes, just like he did in Game 3. The explanation came post-game.
I wanted to, what the hell you guys say it politely? I wanted to take a tinkle. A tinkle? Yeah. I went to take a tinkle. It came back.
It was also number 1 in Game 3 as well. So Giannis is now my 7-year-old who I need to remind to pee before we leave, so he doesn't do it when we're out in public. After relieving himself, Giannis posted 26 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, and that block of DeAndre Ayton. It's an all-time defensive play, preserving a 2-point lead with 1:15 to go. Giannis was guarding Devin Booker when he threw up the lob.
I'm just going to jump vertical, towards the rim. Hopefully I can, be there in time. And I was there in time and was able to get a block and go down, get to a point. So it was a great hustle play.
Giannis met Ayton well above the rim, denied the slam. The 2 points he mentioned came 2 possessions later after a Chris Paul turnover. Chris Middleton scored them on his way to a 14-point fourth and a 40-point game. The Bucks were down 9 early in the fourth, but they win 109-103 to level the series at 2. The Suns got 42 points from Devin Booker. They shot 51% as a team, but done in by 17 turnovers, 5 of them from Chris Paul, including 2 in the final minutes. Game 5 in Phoenix on Saturday night. Richard Sherman's initial court appearances this afternoon. The free agent corner facing multiple charges for allegedly trying to force his way into his in-laws' house early Wednesday in Redmond, Washington. Sherman suffered a lower leg injury from a police dog while being taken into custody. An officer hurt during that process as well. The wife of Steelers QB Dwayne Haskins facing a domestic violence charge for allegedly punching Haskins in the face during an argument in a Vegas hotel earlier this month. Haskins suffered a split lip and damaged teeth. Dodgers righty Trevor Bauer reportedly now on administrative leave through the 27th. That would be the second time MLB and the union agreed to an extension. Bauer's first court hearing for his sexual assault allegations is the 23rd, and British police have made the first 4 arrests for the racist attacks on social media directed at the 3 black players that missed PKs for England against Italy on Sunday. And now we can check on round 1 of the Open Championship at Royal St. George's. Jordan Spieth and Brian Harman share the clubhouse lead, a 5 under 65 for them. But Louis Oosthuizen still on the course. He is 6 under through 17. Brooks Koepka done at 1 under. Bryson DeChambeau shot a 1 over. Team WNBA beat the U.S. Olympic team last night, 93-85 in the All-Star game in Vegas. Arike Ogunbowale named MVP after 26 points. Brittany Griner led the Olympians with 17. And Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby said yesterday, quote, anyone not getting vaccinated is taking unnecessary risk. The conference cannot mandate vaccinations for players, but will apparently force teams to forfeit if they can't play a game because of COVID. No postponements, no rescheduling like last fall. DA, back to you.
Bogues, are you happy that you were not actually in studio for the taste test now that you have learned that the Pringles rotisserie chicken flavor were 2 years old?
Yeah, I certainly seem to have dodged a bullet here. Now, maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, the can you guys ate from isn't 2 years old, but we do now know that this flavor at least existed in 2019. So maybe it is too old, and that's why there was no smell and a weird taste. And maybe that's why Robin 321 liked them, because he had fresh ones and they were delicious, and now they're stale and rotten and spoiled.
You found a taste review, a Pringles review on YouTube from 2019 of that flavor. And
yes,
the other two packages were $1.99, and this one rang up 29 cents. So I think this was a really old one. I do think it's from 2019.
And I will say this, when I was searching yesterday online, stores by me, if they had these Pringles, the spicy chicken one kept coming up without any availability, but there was no mention of the other two flavors at all. So I don't know if that helps you either, if that scares you even more, but there was the only ones around me that had even a fingerprint on the internet were the spicy chicken ones.
My belly's not feeling very good right now. It's feeling kind of bloated and weird. I feel kind of dragged down a little bit.
In 50 minutes, I have to meet for the first time with our new boss, and I am in a bad way right now.
Well, what's interesting, Mirage, is that your eyes look kind of closed.
D, I'm telling you, right, there's something not right with me that I was fine for 2.5 hours on the show. I know I'm a garbage disposal and save all the jokes and all that stuff. Something is not right with me since this taste test. My belly.
Are you still hot, having hot flashes?
Yeah, my head feels like it's like 1,000 degrees. I don't know what's going on. I feel like my head has been just baked out in Cancun forever, and I didn't put on sunscreen or something.
Your eyes are kind of droopy.
I don't know how I look. I usually look terrible anyway, even though I am handsome. It's just something internally, externally. There's something fried here inside of me, and it happened after the chips. Whether it's coincidence, I don't know.
How's your tummy?
It feels like a washing machine looks.
Did he say a minute ago, by the way, even though I'm handsome?
Yes.
Did he drop that in there?
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
By the way, I love that this is how we treat the golf majors around here. Is that Bogues gives the score update once an hour. We barely mentioned it the rest of the show. Bogues mentions the leaderboard. And Bilotti just says, and Liguori's drops ready on command.
Louis Oosthuizen.
Just turn it into a bigger joke.
It's a major that is on when we're on. We could be like really playing into it.
Phil Mickelson.
He's off at 9:48 this morning.
Bubba Watson.
If you were
He isn't playing this week of
if
COVID.
you were just a huge golf fan looking to us for coverage of the British Open, like, I wonder what they're talking about this morning. I want to know more about it.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Also out because of COVID.
Here's how they're covering it with Louis Oosthuizen drops.
Oosthuizen.
How we're covering
Come
it, our
on.
station doesn't even get the channel that it's on. DA and I can't even watch it if we wanted to.
I mean, but if
Forget
you're
our
coming to
camera's
us for
not working.
British
We
Open
don't even
coverage-
have Golf Channel.
Oosthuizen.
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 This is like when your grandma has dinner on a football Sunday and you're like, no red zone?
Here is the DA Show's official British Open update. Louis Oosthuizen.
Louis Oosthuizen.
We'll be back after this.
Oosthuizen.
3 under. There you go.
Jordan Spieth.
Are we,
I mean, it's Anne's fault.
Are we sending Ann to any of these events anymore?
No, you think?
Well,
Are you kidding me? Pete, Thea, you're out tomorrow. I have to produce and be in your chair. You think we're paying for Ann to go to England?
Well, I don't know.
You're so funny.
I don't know if we ever were.
yeah, I think Anne pays for Ann to go there, and then we hire her once she's there.
And hire is a very loosely used term.
So Ann is Jacob Wilkins at the baseball winter meetings. Nobody asked them to be there, but you're there, so we might as well do something with you.
Yeah, but she's much happier to be there.
Yeah.
Charlie Hoffman.
So, is she doing anything stateside though? Does she go to like the U.S. Open anymore?
She did.
Well, I mean, she didn't travel because of COVID, but in the past, I mean, she would be at all of them and then hope that we took. I mean, the best thing for me is over on WFAN, I would come on and go, "Hey, I'm Andrew." Ann's at the U.S. Open. She would talk for 90 seconds. I go, "That was Ann. I'm Andrew. See you next hour." It was my updates for 3. I love majors.
Tom Watson.
Still alive.
Scott Piercy.
We saved a Scott Piercy drop.
I don't know.
Pete has just 200 golfers in the system. All from Ann.
Ha Tong Lee.
Nobody has better golf coverage on CBS Sports Radio than Ann Ligori in our edit system.
The dangerous Patrick Reed.
I mean, it's like the Sean soundboard. We don't even need Ann. We have all of the words she's ever said. Same thing for Sean. We just recycle everything.
Cow. 6 years. Penis. Ow. Juice. I get like this emotional coming over me.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Advanced Analytics Epic fail next. DA CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Analytics is just a term that's kind of thrown around a lot.
It's time now for the Mothership's Advanced Analytics.
So this morning, we had an interesting poll done. It was done by CBS's kind of sister account or DA Show fan account, DA Show Quotes. And it was about how old is it when you have to stop calling your parents mommy and daddy? 70% said between 2nd and 3rd grade. 11% said between 4th and 6th. 17% said middle school or high school is appropriate. And nobody voted into your early 20s. So remember that. We are watching. Let's get to your epic fail of the morning, boys and girls. The taste test that went horribly awry.
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
Now this has the art is a rotisserie chicken getting cut with a big butcher's knife and a chip coming out of the chicken.
That's a good logo. It's better than the All-Star Game jerseys from this week.
Shockingly, this also says artificially flavored. If you were wondering if there were natural rotisserie chicken flavors in
Yes,
this.
they just lay the potato chips there as the juices drip on it.
I truly meant no disrespect.
Pringles organic rotisserie chicken.
Organic.
Free range.
Whole Foods.
Let's try these. Oh my God. Oh my God. These are awful.
I'm not even doing a second.
Oh my God.
It's not even worth a quarter.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I feel like I just kissed my dog after it licked the turkey pan on Thanksgiving.
Wow. These are bottom 3 potato chips I've ever had and maybe the worst.
Rooster goes with the chicken.
And we have tasted a lot of awful potato chips. This is objectively one of the worst potato chips of all time.
I don't like how I feel now. I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all. Maybe he'll fat shame Mraz.
It tastes like dog food.
It does. I'm telling you, I know Eli on Thanksgiving night when he comes up and licks me, and that's what I'm getting. It even tastes like his breath.
Yes.
More turkey than chicken, too.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
And by the way,
Oh, God.
can I just say, this is why Robin the 321, as great a listener he is, sucks sometimes as a person.
It legit tastes like barbecue.
He said this was okay.
Oh, it tastes like barbecue chips. Rob, what barbecue chips are you
God,
getting them
no.
from? Foot Locker? I
Oh,
mean,
God.
my goodness, they're terrible.
Oh, geez. This is terrible.
Tastes straight up like barbecue chicken.
This really is a terrible tasting chip.
Oh.
No wonder this was 29 cents. No wonder nobody bought this.
And it ain't
Flavor is
organic either.
overwhelming.
Oh.
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail. Epic
We all feel sick from the rotisserie chicken from 2 years ago. Pringles we tried. Some stats on advanced analytics. Bogus stopped using the term mommy and daddy in 3rd grade. Timmy, the body Bilotti, still calls mommy and daddy mama and dada. And Mraz wasn't listening to his mommy in 3rd grade when mommy Mraz chased Sean Mraz into the living room where Sean Mraz tripped onto the couch and his tooth pierced through his lip, leading to more stitches for the, quote, plump one. What a show that was. Radio, everyone. Thanks to Sean Mraz, executive producer. Thanks to Pete the Body Bilotti on the Wheels of Steel and audio director. Thanks to Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch DA, and Andrew Bogish on your headlines. Be good and be good to one another. I'm off tomorrow, Summer Fridays. Bogues, Mraz, and Bilotti have you taken care of.
Moist breasts exploding here.
You're in a 5-minute break.